What's going on, ChavezzSlovakia? So now we're here for 10 of the most boring Pokemon featuring hoops and hip hop. So I shot this video originally. It didn't get monetized because I might have titled it something stupid. We're not gonna get into that, all right? We're not gonna get into it. Still shouts out to my man who said he wanted me to shoot more positive. He said I want to shoot more positive videos about useful Pokemon facts. Well, it's useful to know what Pokemon are boring. Now, some Pokemon are boring but cute, and that's what saves them. Like I don't think Sandshrew is necessarily an interesting Pokemon, but he's so goddamn cute, it kind of makes up for it. So, you know, I don't know what, I know that he covers a lot of new gen Pokemon that I don't really know about. So sometimes, like, these videos take me by surprise. And I think there was like a Diglett or something like that, like in the thumbnail. But Diglett's like really popular, but I suppose Diglett is not that interesting of a Pokemon. It's a lot more interesting Pokemon. So let's see what he's talking about. Let's get it. Play. Oh. Ew.
Over the years, Pokemon has come out with a lot of interesting, cool-looking, and sometimes even iconic fictional creatures.
Yeah,
and even
Pikachu
today,
being
Pokemon
massive.
is still coming out with some interesting, cool-looking, and possibly iconic fictional creatures. But there's still no denying, there are some Pokemon that are, to a lot of people, uninteresting, lazily designed, and overall, just flat-out boring.
I like Bellsprout. Well, I think you're
fun?
right, though. Again, Bellsprout. It's just a plant. I mean, it's not like the most interesting thing, but you know, when you watch the anime itself, like, that's really what gives you the personality of the Pokemon.
Make a list of what I think are the 10 boringest Pokemon so far, but deciding on which Pokemon are boring can differ from person to person. I figured it'd be best to get the opinion of a friend and fellow Pokemon YouTuber, that being Hoops and Hip Hop.
What's up, everybody? I'm Hoops and Hip Hop.
Fool, I
So
thought he
like
was a
Alex
rapper.
said, we're going to be going over what we think are the 10 most boring Pokemon, but
thought he
obviously
was a
calling a
rapper.
Pokemon boring is very subjective. So how we're ranking these Pokemon is based on how boring a Pokemon is overall,
Voltorb.
and not just design. For
Ditto
example,
is so
Ditto on its
cute.
own does have a pretty bland design, just being a pink blob with a face, but its ability to transform into any Pokemon makes it a much more interesting and unique Pokemon. We'll also be taking into account any evolutions each Pokemon might have, since a Pokemon might start out intentionally boring, but becomes more interesting thanks to what it eventually
Wow,
becomes.
that's literally the
Also
moth
including
into the
any
butterfly
Gen 7
scenario.
Pokemon, or Pokemon with an Alolan form, because even though from their appearance they might look boring, there might be something more to it that we don't already know. And the same goes for Alolan form Pokemon.
Yeah.
So before we get into the list,
Aloha!
let's go over some Pokemon
Those are the ones
we
from
considered
the
putting on the
island.
list, but just missed out.
The Caterpie line itself is pretty boring, but Butterfree apparently having psychic powers saves it slightly. Ekans is just a snake, but at least it's purple. Oddish at least has a
it's
branch
purple.
evolution, and
God damn
Psyduck
it.
may look boring, but it has the whole psychic vibe about it,
Yeah.
and even evolves into a much more interesting Pokemon. Execute, well,
Yeah.
Quillfish was going to
be.
be on the list, but is at least based on a more interesting fish than a regular one, and also has the additional poison typing. And Zigzagoon is pretty boring, but when it evolves, it gets a pretty cool avatar symbol on its head.
Barbage starts off
That's
boring,
so
but I
arbitrary.
guess it has a more interesting evolution to back it up. Bidoof is probably the simplest designed regional rodent, but Bibarel at least has a unique type combination. Cherubi on its own isn't that interesting for a Pokemon based on a cherry, but it does have an evolution with a pretty unique concept.
Oh, that's dope.
Chingling is just a bell, but it's a very nicely designed bell that evolves into a wind chime. Finneon and Lumineon are pretty basic fish, but like Chingling are at least very nicely designed. Pidove might be the boringest regional bird, but Unpheasant's notable gender differences save it. And finally, Ducklet and Swanna might look boring, especially down to their names, but just barely miss the list because Ducklet is at least blue, Swanna has some features that look nice, and the Pokemon on the actual list just so happen to be even more boring in our opinion. So, let's finally get into our list of the top 10 most boring Pokemon.
Number 10 is Basculin. Fish are
Basculin.
probably the most common Pokemon, and we're bound to get them every generation, which
It's
makes
like a
sense since there are so many
piranha
different types of
almost.
real-life fish. Now, for the most part, fish Pokemon have something going on for them. They either
Magic
start out
card,
bland and
yeah.
become something awesome, or they have some sort of unique feature to them.
That was
Basculin
horrifying.
is easily one of the least interesting fish Pokemon introduced.
But look, that one has blue eyes instead of just
Ever.
instead of red
It
or
looks
orange.
like it should evolve, but doesn't, and its design isn't that appealing either. The only thing keeping Basculin at the bottom of this list is the red and blue forms it has.
Yeah.
But even then,
Oh my god. I just
And
I was
one
pick up last,
boring 9.
it takes the bottom spot.
Number 9. Love this.
fuck.
Basculin is technically back last. The only thing at the bottom of
There
this
we go.
list is the red and blue forms
Finally,
it
we're
has.
back.
But even then, not only are these forms extremely bare-boned, but Basculin was actually one of, if not the last Gen 5 Pokemon to get into Black and White,
Right.
since it was created late in development when the developers realized they needed to fill up the Pokedex. So basically, Basculin was created last minute, and its forms were supposed to make up for the small amount of fish in the region. So in a way, Basculin is technically the laziest designed Pokemon, but for those reasons, it takes the bottom spot on our list.
Number 9. Love Disc. What's a fish Pokemon that's even more boring than Basculin? The one that is literally a pink heart. That doesn't have any special form or evolution to
It's
make
funny
it less
because when I first saw that Pokemon, I actually really liked it.
boring. Although Game Freak had the perfect opportunity in a certain generation, but for whatever reason decided not to take it. Let's take a look at the fish that Love Disc is based on, being the discus fish.
Yeah.
Now, if Love Disc had some sort of nice looking pattern on it, like any of these fish, it might have been safe.
Actually like that boring
The
ass
fact
fish.
that Love Disc is even more boring design wise than what it's actually based on, and pretty much that its only useful purpose is to farm heart scales, easily makes it one of the most boring, if not the most boring of all the fish Pokemon.
Number 8 is Herdier. If you've seen
It's
my
a
top
dog.
5 worst middle evolution Pokemon list, you know that I'm not a fan of Herdier, or Stoutland for that matter. But
But they're
Stoutland at least has a
adorable.
little bit of originality going on, and Lillipup overall is adorable.
Yep,
But
cute
unfortunately,
factor,
they're
through the
not
roof.
enough to save Herdier from the list. Unlike Herdier, Lillipup and Stoutland look different enough from the dogs they're based on. Herdier literally just looks like a regular dog. Just take a look at some
Yeah.
of Herdier's in-game sprites.
Kinda.
If you showed this to someone who wasn't familiar with the 5th generation of Pokemon, do you honestly think they'd be able to tell that this thing is a Pokemon, or just a drawing of a dog?
Okay, but like, for oldies like me, bro, it's nice to have a Pokemon that's not a wind chime. Okay? It just helps me stay grounded.
The only thing going for Herdier that makes it a little less boring apart from its evolution line is its blue coat.
Right.
But even then,
It's a
the dog
coat.
Herdier is based on, being the Yorkshire Terrier,
Yeah.
has a similar coat as well.
Which is just as adorable. What is the problem with
Pokemon
this?
has given us a lot of interesting looking Pokemon we want to have as a pet, but Herdier is easily one of, if not the most boring of the bunch.
Number 7. Voltorb and Electrode. Yeah, you knew these guys were going to be on the list. Voltorb is literally a red and white ball
it is.
with eyes.
Yeah.
And its evolved form is a white and red ball with eyes.
Which is slightly
and a mouth.
kind of cheeky,
So
not
they're basically
creative.
Pokeballs with eyes. What makes this evolution line even more lazy is that Voltorb doesn't even change into a different type of Pokeball upon evolution, like a Great Ball or an Ultra Ball. They literally
suppose
just
that would be
flip
kinda cool.
Voltorb upside down. How imaginative. Now for those of you who were surprised that these Pokemon were only number 7, at the very least, these Pokemon were based on something kind of original in the Pokemon universe.
Yeah.
They're also known for exploding every now and then.
Which is cute.
And funnily enough, the blue colour in the shiny form is possibly based on a Great Ball. That's something kind of interesting. But apart from that, Voltorb and Electrode as Pokemon are overall pretty damn boring.
Yeah, uninspired at best.
Number
but
6 is
still.
Clink, a pair of
Yep,
gears
thank
with
you.
eyes.
I'm so glad
it evolves
you're on
into
here.
Clang, a pair of gears with another gear attached.
Yep.
And that evolves into Kling Clang, a pair of gears with
I
another
hate
gear
it.
attached, along with an extra gear and a ring. This evolution line, if you think about it, is
Trash.
kind of like a toy. You start out with one piece, you attach the next piece, and then you attach the last piece, and voila!
It was really good
Not
editing
only
for that,
but their
actually.
names are also some of the most unimaginative,
Cling,
especially
clang,
for
clink,
a
clang.
stage evolution. Clink, clang, and Cling Clang? If we take the Magnemite line, for example,
Dope.
Magneton is just 3 Magnemites stuck together, but Magnezone ends up being a much more interesting and
UFO.
unique evolution rather than, say, just 5 Magnemites stuck together. I mean, a creature made up of gears could have come out looking really awesome. They could have started out as a pair of cogs, then end up forming some sort of giant mechanical machine. But instead, the Clink line takes the much simpler route and builds on each evolution one metal piece at a time. The end result isn't too bad, but the journey getting there and the choice of the names do leave a pretty boring impression.
Cling, clang, clink, clank.
Goldeen and Seeking. Out of all the fish Pokemon, Hoops and I decided that overall, these were the most boring. Why? Well, The other fish Pokemon mentioned, we think have slightly more going for them when comparing them to the fish that they're based on.
Okay.
Both Golding and Seeking from their design and colour scheme look a bit too much like an actual fish, which would be fine if they had something interesting about it, and it seems that the only thing standing out for these two is their horn. But even then,
Right.
as fish Pokemon, Golding and Seeking are kind of bland. Well, I guess that's what you get when you have a Pokemon that's based on a goldfish.
Yeah.
They don't even stand out for being bad. I mean, Seeking isn't the worst battler, but looking at the other water types from Gen
It's
1,
pretty-
Golding
yeah.
and Seeking to most people are definitely some of the blandest.
But it definitely makes you feel good, like once you get a Goldeen and then you evolve it, and then you get any other water Pokemon, you feel it. I got my Goldeen like super early during my playthrough of Silver, and it felt really good when I finally got a Psyduck. I felt like I was badass. So, you know.
I mean, did anyone choose Goldeen and Seeking over the other water types available in Gen 1?
Not after
To be honest,
yeah.
I don't think I ever bothered catching a Goldeen in the original Red and Blue, or on Pokemon Go for that matter.
I caught it in Pokemon Go, because in Vegas you don't have much
Number
water.
4 is Seal.
So,
if we were judging
Seal?
Pokemon on how boring their
Bro,
names were,
Seal is so adorable, bro. Have you ever seen the anime? I'm
Seal
triggered.
would easily be the number one
I'm so
pick.
triggered.
Its name is exactly what it's based
Yeah!
on, with one letter changed. This
You're so mean. You're so mean.
Crocs, 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 Crocs. I'm rocking Crocs. I'm rocking Crocs. I'm rocking Crocs. Wearing Crocs, boy. I'm rocking Crocs. I'm rocking Crocs. I'm rocking Crocs. Wearing Crocs, boy. My Crocs are gold. My pops is old. My Crocs got soul. My Crocs are bold. I go to church wearing Crocs. I'm always turned wearing Crocs. My Crocs are great. Your Crocs are lame. With my Crocs, I can cross a lake. Crocs, 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 Crocs.